Ladies and gentlemen, NBC News, Tucker Carlson says he has access to 44,000 hours of January footage. 44,000 hours, that's according to NBC News. There's 41,000 hours, according to other publications. Forbes Speaker McCarthy gives Tucker Carlson 41,000 hours of January footage. That's Forbes Daily Mail. Kevin McCarthy hands 41,000 hours of January footage to Tucker Carlson. Host plans to air new camera angles. Okay. So, we have a whole bunch of articles talking about 41,000 hours of new evidence, exculpatory evidence, or damaging evidence to the Democratic Party's narrative. It could potentially bolster everything CNN and Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney have been saying. Okay? Maybe they were truly preventing and stopping and blocking the release of this video footage because they had security concerns. So imagine if a dash cam on an officer was blocked by the local politicians or by the law enforcement agency. Nobody in media, nobody at CNN, nobody anywhere, left or right, would accept that. Okay? This was evidence that was not shown during the January committee. Okay? And we have learned, well, we always knew that an unarmed person, okay, an unarmed person whose life is taken, that's a huge problem. It's always been a huge problem, and especially law enforcement officials that do that anywhere in the country, and I support law enforcement. I support law enforcement. That man who ended the life of an unarmed supporter of Trump, okay, the man who ended her life, I cannot condemn categorically because I don't know. I've never seen the entire footage. I will say that from what we've seen, the number of seconds that we've seen, it's very questionable as to why he had to use lethal force. She was unarmed, and I mean, there are a whole lot of issues. So Ashley Babbitt lost her life. Her life was taken from her. And according to CNN, here's one very bizarre sentence from CNN. The release of the investigation did not specify the officer's stated reason for ending her life, nor did it say why other officers present did not do the same thing as that officer. Okay. So that's a very bizarre thing to me. But with that security footage, we might get different angles to see what happened. I can't categorically condemn him because it was a chaotic moment, but I will say that she should be alive today. And so I can condemn the fact that this unarmed woman who did not pose an immediate security issue to anyone in particular, because we haven't seen that footage. I can condemn categorically that her life was taken. Okay, so I haven't seen the actual footage to show exactly, nobody has. It's just interesting how the left, or Democrats, wonderful, morally superior among us, if there's an unarmed protester, demonstrator, and if, God forbid, that took place during that summer, you had much less taking place to demonstrators that summer, and it was sensationalized, and it was viewed as, oh my God, this person's rights, and that could be the case. This person's rights were trampled upon by Trump and by law enforcement. But with this unarmed woman, her life was taken. We haven't seen the exact footage as to what took place. I have only seen the aftermath. where people are saying, why did you do that? Yelling out, why did he shoot? Hit subscribe to this channel right now. One of the things Tucker Carlson is going to address is video footage regarding Ashley Babbitt and what happened, what transpired. The Daily Beast, Tucker Carlson says Ashley Babbitt was shot because she had the wrong politics. That could be the case if you see the entire footage, which he'll release. So, again, it was a chaotic moment, a chaotic, a traumatic event for a lot of people, perhaps law enforcement officials also at that location in that building. Nonetheless, she was unarmed. So, you have to ask yourself, well, wait a second. There are laws, rightfully so, and there are videos when an unarmed person, in custody, or an unarmed person loses his or her life, you only see endless demonstrations. And oftentimes, rightfully so. But here you have an unarmed woman who I didn't see her do anything that wasn't peaceful. We didn't see the video. A lot of these people were let into the building. So you can't say that they weren't peaceful. A lot of the people. One person was acquitted. Okay? Again, I'm not equating the underlying causes or motivation to demonstrate, but there were 14,000 arrests according to Wikipedia that summer. Were those people domestic? Okay, the same domestic that Trump supporters were accused of being? Although those were fighting for the good cause. I agree the cause was good. I agree with why people demonstrated peacefully. I agree with why people demonstrated that summer. I don't agree with $1 to $2 billion in property damage. Did the people who committed that property damage, were they domestic? What about the 19 lives lost? The criminals who ended those 19 lives, were they domestic? Okay, you can see there's a certain word, phrase that Democrats use because everything now is like bizarro world where they try to just take the worst of the Bush administration and then utilize it against supporters of Trump or anyone they don't like. Ashley Babbitt should be alive today. Okay? I'm trying to be as generous as possible, as fair as possible. I don't know what that officer was, that law enforcement official was thinking. I don't know what happened. Apparently she was trying to get into a chamber, and so I don't know why the other officials didn't do what he did. The investigation, again, didn't release the reason for why the officer did what he did. So what kind of investigation is that? There was no dash cam from the officer. Why not? And so you have 41,000 to 44,000 hours of footage. There are endless articles about Tucker Carlson defending Ashley Babbitt or saying that her life was taken because of politics. He will almost certainly bring up the fact or address the issue within that security footage. There's probably a great deal of security footage being withheld regarding that poor woman who lost her life and how she lost her life and why the law enforcement official, it could even exonerate the law enforcement official. Maybe he felt because of commotion and noise, and he felt that his life was in danger. But we didn't get that from the CNN article, the release of the investigation. The investigation revealed no evidence. And then this is a CNN article. That the officer did not reasonably believe he was acting in self-defense or in defense of the officer. The investigation revealed no evidence that the officer did not reasonably believe he was acting in self-defense or defense of the member of Congress. The release did not specify the reason for why he pulled the trigger of the firearm. or nor did he say why others were not present or did not do the same thing. To some, she's a patriot. To others, a domestic. This is CNN is like, you have to be. So, again, the 14,000 people arrested, that summer, again, I agree with why people demonstrated peacefully. I agree with that cause, yeah. But they're not domestic? But she is. She's unarmed. And a lot of the people who were 14,000 arrests were armed. Some of them were armed. So, in 19 lives lost, $1 to $2 billion in property damage, and you focus on one day, and you ignore an unarmed woman. Democrats, when they claim to stand for the lofty ideals of no. You can see how they treat anyone who doesn't fall within their paradigm of political utility. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. God bless her family. And I think Tucker Carlson will shed some light on this. He stated that he will also. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe.